Jeff, what's the new Cloud Ethernet Forum?
Well, thanks for asking, Michael. The Cloud Ethernet Forum was established last May in 2013, and it was done under the umbrella of the Metro Ethernet Forum. And we're following a lot of the same kind of paradigms that they chose to stand up this $50 million carrier Ethernet business. And specifically, what the Metro Ethernet Forum did that we're mimicking is they concentrated on the service and defining standards around the service for creating a ubiquitous global carrier Ethernet service. And we're following those same tactics when we think about the cloud and how we connect across the network to virtual machines, to the enterprise. How do we do that effectively? And we started with 5 fundamentals, as we call them. We used an acronym called VASPA. And VASPA stands for virtualization, automation, security, programmability, and analytics. And from there, we've developed a number of use cases. And from there, we've developed a reference architecture. And we've done that all in less than a year. And we're taking the next step, and we're starting to look at how we can accelerate those through publishing some of our standards and also through creating something we call the Open Cloud Project.
Well, what's the Open Cloud Project?
So, Michael, the Open Cloud Project addresses something that's very specific to cloud networking. It's moving very fast in the industry. And I guess I'm very convinced that testing can play a very important role in bringing new technologies to the marketplace faster, bigger, better, more reliably. The MEF has done this in the form of certification testing. The CEF is taking a somewhat different approach under the pressure of the speed at which cloud is making demands on networking in general. So, the CEF is in the process of defining a reference architecture. We are mapping a reference test bed or mirroring a reference test bed from the reference architecture. The CEF has defined 5 use cases, fundamental use cases. These use cases will be run on the reference test bed with several purposes in mind, but one of the most important ones is to speed up the standards process itself. In other words, to provide feedback back into the standards process to speed it up, to accelerate it. We're thinking that the standard, when it is achieved, will be achieved more quickly. It will be more relevant because testing discovers all sorts of things that often are discovered way after standards are done and slows the industry down, and should produce standards that are industry ready, deployment ready, or much readier than current processes. I'd like to point out that we are not talking about a proof of concept exercise, which is generally something like 10, 15 engineers getting together for something like a month, building up a test bed to prove a concept, tearing it down and going home with the conclusions. That's not what this is. This is a reference test bed that is built up and will evolve over time as the standard evolves and as it helps the standard evolve. So that's what the Open Cloud Project is, and that's its mission and its purpose. And we're really excited about it.
Well, that sounds like something I've not heard of happening in the industry before, of having a test bed. And on the face of it, it sounds like it is a good way to make the standards come about more quickly and avoid mistakes along the way.
Yeah. You know, testing does change as the industry changes. Ethernet originally was really tested through benchmark style testing. Carrier Ethernet services are tested through a certification process of testing. And here, again, I think, because the nature of the animal is different, it's called for the creation of a new type of testing.
Something new under the sun.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, I think if there's going to be another standards body in the industry, it might as well, or best be spawned by the MEF, which has no parallels in the past of how much difference they've made in the industry.
And I think part of that Sorry, Jeff,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think part of that comes from the incredible focus that the MEF has had in focusing on the definition of carrier Ethernet services and keeping that focus up and making sure that that focus corresponds to something that's very real from a business point of view also, because members are fundamentally in business. And the CEF, I believe, is hot on the trails of the MEF by focusing on the definition of cloud services. And that's what the Open Cloud Project is meant to do.
I think the MEF did do obviously a brilliant job in focusing on services. It's the right thing to do here as well. There's even more potential undercurrent technologies
Yes.
involved in cloud,
Right.
a
Yes.
lot more than
Yes.
in Ethernet.
Right.
So here it's even more important.
And that's why I think we need a different paradigm of how we move this forward, because the complexity is quite a bit higher when you look at SDN, NFV, and then layering that on top of carrier Ethernet, and again, stitching together that service. There's many more loose ends, and things are moving very quickly. So we need to move at the speed of the cloud.
Well, it sounds like we got a new kid on the block, and
go.
we'll be a new adult quickly.
Absolutely. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael. Thank you.